Good morning, students. Today we are discuss about the vapor power cycle. This is the most important chapter in thermodynamics. So, this is your syllabus for your subject. That was introduction, then Carnot vapor cycle, Rankine cycle, then comparison between the Carnot and Rankine cycle, then the variables affecting the efficiency of Rankine cycle, the difference between actual vapor cycle and ideal vapor cycle, reheat cycle. Then after we are discuss about the regenerative cycle and reheat regenerative cycle. So we all know that ki vapor power plants means the power produced with the help of vapors. Okay. So this type of cycles is known as vapor power cycle. Similarly, we are studying about the gas power cycle. So in that case, with the help of gases, we are generate the power. So let's start. First of all, we all know that there are four components. First one is the boiler, second one is the turbine, third one is the condenser, and in case of Carnot cycle, it is in compressor. So these are the four important parts. So let's start. For point 1 to 2, it is a boiler from where the water is converted into steam, and after achieving the desired temperature and pressure, we supply it to the main steam pipeline. Uh, so this is the point 2. And after point 2, we are supply this steam into the turbine. And turbine is defined as it is a device that can produce mechanical energy by the compensation of steams. Means we all know that there are n number of tubes attached in these turbines. So these blades are running with the help of this steam, which has the highest pressure. So ultimately, this pressure is suddenly strike to these blades, and ultimately mechanical work, or say mechanical work is produced. And this mechanical work, in terms of soft movement, connecting with the generator, where it produces electricity. After that, we are completing the point 3. Okay. After that, the temperature of this steam is very much low. So this steam cannot be used further. So we are just pass it into the condenser where this steam is converted into the liquid form. Okay. And after that, this liquid, with the help of compressor, we are again increase their pressure and ultimately pass on into the boiler. So this is all about the Carnot cycle. So there are four processes we already discussed here. In 1 to 2, it is a boiler, and we are doing isothermal expansion process. Means with the at constant temperature, we are just expand the uh, the water into the vapor form. Okay. Then the second part is the 2 to 3 process where we are using turbine. In this process, isentropic expansion created. In this process, means there is no interaction between heat, but work should be allowed. At point 3 to 4, it is an isothermal compression process where the steam is compressed, or say with the help of condenser, we are just rejecting the heat. And at point 4 to 1, it is a compressor process where increase the pressure to supply into the boiler. Okay, this is the PV diagram where we are observed that if P1 is equal to P2 and P3 is similar to P2. P4 means there are only two temperatures where the boiler and the metal means whole cycle work. And when we see the TS diagram, it is observed that T1 is equal to T2 and T3 is equal to T4. And at the same time, S1 is equal to S4 and S2 is equal to S3. We are very much using this equation in numericals part. So this is the their literature part where the saturated water at point one is isothermally converted into the dry saturated steam by adding heat at constant temperature T1 and pressure T1 into the boiler, and the dry state of steam is represented by point 2. It means that the temperature T2 and pressure T2 is equal to the temperature T1 and pressure T1. This isothermal process is represented by a curve by 1 to 2 on PV and PS diagram. The heat supply during the isothermal process is given there. Means when we are using this whole thing, at that time it is necessary to know about the enthalpies. So for that, we are either using steam table or molar chain. So we all know, we all observe that in case of boiler there should be a heat supply. In the turbine we are getting the turbine work at the time of heat rejection, 3 to 4 it is heat rejection process, and 4 to 1 is the compression process. So we are say the work done by the compressor. Okay. So ultimately, the efficiency of the Carnot cycle is, so all know that work done is equal, efficiency is equal to work done upon heat supply. So work done is getting, here we are getting work done by two way, by heat supply minus heat rejection, or say H2 minus H3. So ultimately H2 minus H3 upon heat supply is H2 minus H1, or we are using second formula, which is heat supply minus heat rejection. So heat supply is H2 minus H1 and heat rejection is H3 minus H4. So ultimately we are getting work done is equal to S2 minus H1 minus S3 minus H4 upon S2 minus S1. So ultimately it is converted into 1 minus S3 minus H4 upon S2 minus H1. Okay. So in case of entropy definition, change in entropy is equal to cyclic integration of delta Q upon temperature. So QS heat supply is a function of H2 minus S1 into T1, or H2 minus S1 into T2, because T1 is equal to T2. Similarly, heat rejection is equal to S3 minus S4 into T3 is equal to T3 minus T4 into T4. So ultimately, the efficiency of Carnot cycle is equal to 1 minus T3 upon T1, means maximum temperature upon the minimum temperature. This is the very important point. But there should be a limitation in Carnot cycle. First one is it is a hypothetical, so it is impossible to make. Second, 4 to 1 is the isentropic compression process in the wet vapor, which is very difficult to achieve with the help of compressor. Practically, compression or expansion process having irreversibility, but we are say that it is a reversible process. And ultimately, to achieve superheating of steam at constant temperature cannot be possible. So this is all about the Carnot cycle. Thank you very much. If you have any doubt.